Stop. Before you blame your child. Before you decide they are lazy. Before you believe they simply are not intelligent. Watch this first. The next few minutes could completely change the way you see your child's future. Every year, thousands of parents watch other children move ahead with confidence. Meanwhile, their own child quietly begins to fall behind. Not because they failed as parents, but because the real problem often remains hidden. Most struggling children do not ask for help. They simply become quieter. Their confidence begins disappearing long before anyone notices. This is Daniel. Before school became difficult, he loved asking questions. Everything around him felt exciting. Every new discovery felt like an adventure. Then came his first year at school. Nothing seemed unusual. Some children learned quickly. Daniel simply learned more slowly. No one believed it would become a problem. Months later, Daniel's parents attended their first meeting with his teacher. The teacher spoke kindly. Then she said something they would never forget. Daniel is trying very hard, but he is struggling to keep up. His parents were not afraid. They believed he only needed more time. Many families believe the same thing. Sometimes they are right. Sometimes valuable time quietly slips away. Weeks became months. Homework became stressful. Reading became frustrating. The confident little boy who once loved learning slowly began to disappear. One evening, Daniel quietly looked at his mother and asked, "Maybe I'm just not smart enough." No child is born believing that. Those words are learned. They are built, one disappointment at a time. Children rarely lose intelligence. They lose confidence first. And when confidence disappears, learning becomes much harder. His parents searched everywhere for answers. They hired tutors. They bought more books. They increased study time, yet nothing truly changed. Every solution focused on improving Daniel's performance. No one stopped to ask a different question. What if the problem was never Daniel? Then Daniel's teacher suggested something unexpected. She recommended that his parents visit a child psychologist. Not because Daniel was broken, but because someone needed to understand how his mind was learning. The psychologist didn't begin by testing Daniel. She simply watched him. She listened. She observed. After nearly an hour, the psychologist smiled. Then she said something that completely changed the family's journey. The problem is not that Daniel cannot learn. The problem is that no one has discovered how Daniel learns. That single sentence changed everything. For the first time, Daniel's parents stopped searching for a better student. They started trying to understand their son. That evening, Daniel's parents drove home in complete silence, not because they had lost hope, because they had just realized they had been asking the wrong question all along. For years they had been asking, how do we make Daniel learn better? Now they were asking, how does Daniel learn best? One question tried to change the child. The other tried to understand the child. The psychologist gave Daniel's parents one simple challenge. For the next 7 days, don't try to change him, just observe him. It sounded too simple to work, but they decided to try. The next morning, everything changed. Not because Daniel changed, because his parents did. Step 1. Understand your child before trying to change them. Instead of asking about homework first, Daniel's parents watched how he naturally explored the world. They noticed something they had never paid attention to before. Daniel remembered ideas more easily when he could see them. He understood faster when he could build them. His mind wasn't slower, it simply learned differently. Many children are judged by how quickly they learn. Very few are understood by how they learn. That difference can shape an entire life. For the first time in months, Daniel finished an assignment without giving up. Not because the work became easier, because someone finally taught him in a way his brain could understand. That small success changed more than a school assignment. It changed what Daniel believed about himself. Confidence began returning, one small victory at a time. Parents often search for bigger solutions. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough begins with better observation. Understanding comes before improvement. From that day forward, praise sounded different. Instead of saying, "You're so smart," they began saying, "I'm proud of how hard you kept trying." Those words slowly built resilience instead of pressure. Daniel smiles back with renewed confidence, feeling valued for his effort. Daniel's story was finally moving in the right direction. But childhood was only the beginning. As he grew older, new challenges appeared. And many families lose progress during this next stage without even realizing it. Let's imagine something. You're building the most advanced computer ever created. Would you fill it with cheap and damaged parts? Or would you use the very best materials you could find? Your child's brain asks the very same question every time they eat. Many parents think food only affects growth, height, weight, energy, but food is also helping build attention, memory, self-control, and learning. The brain is hungry too. This doesn't mean every meal has to be perfect. It means consistency matters more than perfection. One healthy meal won't transform a brain, just as one unhealthy meal won't destroy it. It's the pattern that shapes the future. Here's something schools are only beginning to understand. Movement helps children think. Running, jumping, climbing, dancing. These aren't distractions from learning. They're part of learning. When children move, their brains receive more oxygen, more blood flow, and more depth. Opportunities to strengthen the systems responsible for attention and coordination. Sometimes, the absolute best way to improve the young mind is simply to get out and move the body. A child who spends time exploring the world doesn't just discover nature. They discover themselves. Every tree climbed, every ball kicked, every new path explored teaches confidence. Now we arrive at perhaps the most uncomfortable truth of all. Your child listens. Your child listens to your words, but they learn even more from your daily actions. If they see kindness, they learn kindness. If they see patience, they learn patience. If they see respect, they learn respect. Children rarely become what we tell them to be. They often become what they repeatedly see. Don't aim to become a perfect parent. Aim to become a learning parent. Because every time your child watches you admit a mistake, apologize, or try again, their brain learns something textbooks can never teach: humility, growth, character. And then, before you realize it, your little child begins becoming an adult. The questions change, the conversations change, the challenges become deeper, but something very important remains exactly the same. Their brain is still learning every day. Teenagers don't need parents who know every answer. They need parents who know how to listen. Sometimes, the greatest lesson you can teach is giving your child the confidence to speak honestly, without fear. As teenagers grow, their greatest classroom is no longer just the home. It's their friendships, their mentors, their teachers, their choices. Every relationship helps shape the person they are becoming. This is why choosing the right environment can be just as important as giving the right advice. Because environments quietly shape behavior long before words ever do. Daniel's parents eventually understood something that many families never discover.
A child's future is not shaped by one perfect decision.
It is shaped by hundreds of small decisions repeated every single day. As Daniel entered high school, the lessons became harder. But something else had become
Stronger: his confidence, his curiosity.
his willingness to keep trying. Those qualities carried him further than natural talent. The goal was never to raise the smartest child in the classroom. The goal was to raise a
Child who believes that energy challenge can be learned. That belief becomes a lifelong advantage.
Never measure your child only by today's results. Confidence can return. Skills can be learned. But every child needs someone who
Believes in them.
If this story reminded you of someone you love, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with
Different families.
or anyone helping a child grow. Sometimes one conversation changes an entire future. And if you want more documentaries that combine science, psychology, and practical
Parenting.
because every child deserves the chance to be understood before they are judged.